What's good, people?
Hello.
What's happening? What's happening? Welcome back to the Weighing Podcast, where we're talking all things kickboxing and Muaythai with myself, Christian Shepherd, and the homie.
And me, Nadine. Hello.
What's been happening? What's been going on?
It's been good. It's been a good week.
Someone had a fight last week.
Yes, I did. I had an N-class fight at the Bloodline League show last Sunday.
Man. Which was a sick show, just to put that out there. It was an awesome
good.
show.
Yeah.
Created very well. And you won the fight.
Yes, I did. I won. It was a very tough fight. She was very tall. I perhaps didn't prepare as much as I should have.
Yeah, you've had a few tall fighters.
Yeah,
You always get a tall fighter.
Yeah, so it was good. Good. Took a lot of knees, but at the end of the day, I won. So.
Nah, you looked good. You know what I mean? Strong, savage as usual. Do you know what I mean? So who have we got today?
Today we have Rory Crawford, fighter, promoter.
Fighter out of Keddles gym.
Yep.
I guess promoting out at Keddles. He's still at Keddles gym. And owners of Fighter's Choice as well.
Yeah, he's got a big show coming up on the 8th of March.
CFS Combat Fight Series, where he's got a big belt on the line.
Yeah, the WBC Muaythai belt. And that's for
boy.
Grace Spicer.
Savage.
And another female fighter.
Yeah, he's won a few titles himself, multiple titles himself. Fought around the world, trained and fought in Thailand, trained in the Netherlands, so he's well rounded, got a lot of knowledge on the sport and people within the sport. And recently, a couple months ago, like last year, took on the biggest fight of his life and became a dad.
Yeah.
Going at it. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So without further ado, welcome.
Rory,
Thank you very much for having me.
What's going on? So we like to ask all our fighters when they first come to take us back to the beginning and what gym you walked into, what got you into Muay Thai, what got you into kickboxing, and where it all started.
So for me, I started properly when I was about 18. I mean, before then I was doing little bits of martial arts, but just drifted in and out a little bit,
Yeah.
You hit that sort of teenage age and you drift off and do other bits and pieces. So for me, I was about 18 and a friend rang me up and said, "Do you want to start boxing again?" I said, "Yeah." So he rang me back up. He said, "Forget the boxing." He said, "They've got a club down here." He said, "They're elbowing each other, they're hitting each other." I said, "I'll have some of that." So we'll go down and train. So it was just in a hall. Went in there and I just got a bug instantly. Started training. And the more it went on and on, I thought I want to have a little go at competing, And at that time, Keddles was the place to go, and it was literally on my doorstep. So it's a stone's throw away. So I just walked straight into there and just said to Alan, I want to fight. What have I got to do? He said, make sure you do all the classes, all your sparring, your running. He said, when I think you're ready, I'll put you in for your first interclub. So a few months later, I had it. And
was that literally how many months later?
Yeah, literally like probably 3 or 4 months I was there.
Oh, wow.
Straight on it.
Yeah, so I just chucked myself in on the deep end.
How was the first interclub?
It was good. It takes a little bit of pressure off because it's all, there's no decisions. You don't win or lose. So for your first one, it's it's nice because there's not that pressure if you've got to win, but obviously you want to do your best. So I think I ended up having about 3 or 4. Until I went into decision. So it happened pretty quick, but I just threw myself into it. I just loved it. What was
the first promotion you fought on as a pro?
It was actually a Keddles show.
Was it?
Yeah, Keddles had a show at the time. It's at the City Pavilion Hall in Romford.
Okay.
And that was the first fight I had there, first proper fight. Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about Keddles. So it's a legendary gym.
I mean, for me, a friend of mine, Bernice, I knew her from school, so she was at Keddles, and like I say, it was literally around the corner from my house. And everyone knows about Keddles gym, from all over the UK. So for me, it was a no-brainer. The fact that I had it on my doorstep just made it all that easier, So that is how I got into there.
Yeah, nice. And obviously you trained about, but you always got.
Have you always been at Keddles?
Yeah, I mean, and then obviously a few years down the line, I went with Kieran as well.
Yeah.
When he started Double K. But that was a good few years into it. So before Kieran had Double K, a friend of mine was training with him.
Yeah.
And I knew that it was obviously Alan's brother, so I knew he was. He said, "Come down and train. I've got some guys to spar with, bits and pieces." So, out of respect, I said to Alan, "Do you mind me going?" He said, "No, I don't mind you going." So I went and teamed up with Kieran. Just got on with him really well, to be honest, from the beginning. And then obviously he opened Double K, It was a phenomenal gym, you know, some real top fighters there, real top fighters, and some really good memories down there.
Yeah.
And then you went back to Keddles.
I was always there, to be honest, because I consider Keddles as my home. You know, I work there. I still, when I was fighting, always used their name. My trainer was actually a guy called Saab, who was at Keddles, and I still train with him to this day. And he trained me from day one. So I've always been at Keddles. It was just I saw that I had the best of both worlds. You know, I could train there and at Kieran's.
Yeah. So you get Thai trainers coming over and that, don't you, as well?
We used to. Yeah, we used to.
That's it.
We had an affiliation with a gym called Kiap on Tip Gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a very good gym. So when they was bringing Thais over, if we wanted to go to Thailand, we'd go to there. So I remember the first time I went.
Oh, that's sick.
It's a little bit daunting because you don't really know. This is a massive country. You don't really know much. So the guy who owned it, Rob Cox, was actually English, and he used to meet us at the airport, make us feel welcome, take us there, and we would do all our training at that gym. You know. So it's good to have that connection with a Thai gym, and it just made it comfortable for us every time we went.
Yeah, sick. So how do you find the differences from training here to Thailand, other than the clinch every day?
Yeah, I mean, I just, you know, it's you know what, it's hard to explain until you go. At first, I didn't really know what to expect, but it's
Cause I can imagine the foundations are like, when you're there, I'd love to go. Do you know what I mean?
For me, going over as a fighter, I just knew I had to soak everything in. I just wanted to take as much as I could out of that and bring it back. You know, some people sort of almost waste their time a little bit there and go out there and party. And I purposely made sure where we stayed, there was nothing around there. It was a 7-Eleven and that was it.
Yeah.
So your nearest trip into Bangkok was like 30-40 minutes. So
Okay.
It was just purely to train. You know, I didn't see a beach the first time I went to Thailand. So it's hard. It is hard out there, but you know what you're going in for. You know it's going to be hard.
Did you find it difficult transitioning when you come back to the UK? Because obviously when Thais fight, they start off quite slow and quite composed.
I think you're right. I think especially the UK sort of guys, they start a lot quicker. They're a little bit more hand orientated. Like to go in and finish people, and it's not necessarily like in Thailand. You have to get used to their pace, but I think you just got to take a little bit what works for you. Yeah. And they're pretty good at picking up what your style is and how you fight, and they just give you that little bit, you know, what will suit your style. They won't try and change you. I don't think every time I've been, they haven't tried to change too much. It's just developing on what you already are, you know.
So when you walk into the gyms though, do you end up kind of like getting close with a trainer? What's the like from? They usually start off running, don't they, in Thailand?
So we would get up at about 5:30 in the morning, and we'd run for about 5 or 6 miles, come back, and then do your pads or your bag work, and then you go back, have a little sleep. Come back in the afternoon, skip for 45 minutes.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. That's why people now, you know, when you're in the UK and you go, right, skip for 10 minutes, they're like, oh. You know, honestly, it was, you know, 45 minutes skipping before you put a hand wrap on. And then you do your sparring and you clinch. So it was twice a day.
Yeah.
That's sick, you know.
And you also trained in Holland as well?
I trained
How does that
Holland,
differ?
Oh, completely different. Yeah. Completely different. I mean, I made the transition between... I started with Thai boxing, but I just found my style was more K1. Yeah. I liked my boxing a little bit more than I was kicking. Wasn't the most fluent kicker. It was boxing and low kicks for me, so it made sense to go to K1.
So for people who don't know, what's the difference between K1 and Muay Thai?
The rule set, obviously, with your Thai boxing, you can clinch and you can elbow if you're fighting A class. Yeah. The K1 will take that out. It's done over 3 3-minute rounds, whereas full Thai rules is 5 3s. Yeah. K1 is a little bit more of a fight, to be honest, I think, and the Thai boxing is a little bit more thinking. You have to, you know, score a little bit better. The aggression in K1 works, you know, a little bit better than it would in Thai boxing. So I love both of them, but it just, for me personally, K1 suited my style. Yeah. So that's why I moved to K1.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the Netherlands, they bang it out, don't they? They spar hard as fuck.
Well, I mean, I went with Charlie Peters.
Yeah.
We was training a lot together at the time. He said, do you want to come Voss gym? I said, yeah. We went over there and it was just crazy. It was crazy.
How long did you spend over there?
Do you know what, we've done 4 days, but they just spar. And if they don't spar, it's like fighting. You're basically having a fight, you know. And I loved it. Yeah. I loved it. The sparring was really, really intense. But that's just the way that they are out there, you know.
Yeah, it's built different, innit? Yeah.
So you've had the opportunity, obviously, to fight in the UK and overseas. You've had a very decorated fighting career, which is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What do you think is missing from the UK fight scene?
I don't know if it's if missing's the right word. It's what hasn't been found yet. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, what's not been discovered.
Because there's certain fighters out there, you know, and they're brilliant, but they just haven't been put on a stage yet, you know. And it's a shame, really. I don't know what the reason is behind it. You know, so I know some guys, especially on promotions, you've got to sell a certain amount of tickets and stuff like this, and I've known some great fighters that don't really sell tickets and they don't get to go on the show, you know. So I think it's just discovering some of the guys. It's not so much that they're doing things wrong, it's just getting the right people on and the right matches, I think, personally, because there's a lot of talent in the UK.
There is. So if you are an up-and-coming fighter and you know that you're good, and you need to get on these shows, but maybe you're not from the UK, what advice, so you don't have loads of people to sell tickets to, as a fighter and as a, you know, now promoter, what would you say? How could this particular fighter get on shows?
I think as well the networking yourself is a lot more dominant now, you know, the social media, the Instagram, the Facebook. So a lot of these guys are, you know, watching videos of people, and I do it myself. I think, oh, he looks good, you know, and I'd never heard of him before.
Okay.
But because I've seen him on social media, I think, right, I'll have a little look at him. So I think that side of things now is you know, very important. Where it wasn't so much, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I suppose it was more word of mouth, and you know, but now it seems to be a lot more social media orientated.
Yeah, we spoke to a few people about this, haven't we? Like building a brand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And again, utilising social media for the positive side.
Do you
of
think that fighters here in the UK need to like create a personality around them? You know how, you know, you've got the boxers and that, you know, they're throwing tables and just at their weigh-ins, you know, they're creating a real scene. Do you think that perhaps Muay Thai, K1, kickboxing needs a bit more of that, or do you not think it's necessary?
I think it depends on the sort of fans. For me personally, I like to just see the fight do the selling.
Okay.
So I could look at two guys and think, right, that's going to be a great fight. So it's not so much of the theatrics, but if you don't know that person, and it gets you interacting in that fight because they're making a load of noise and they're calling someone out, and you know there's a little bit of beef between two certain guys, then if it does well for you know UK Muay Thai and K1, then great.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'm just more of a fan of the ability that guy has.
Yeah.
And that should be enough for me to warrant him to be on a show, you know.
Did you ever do that at weigh-ins?
No.
Never kicked off, no.
Never kicked off. Never called. Did you ever call anyone out? Was there anyone that you really wanted to fight?
No, never. No. Yeah, and I know it sounds, but it just wasn't. I just wasn't really like that. Just always respectful, and I know it's probably not the most exciting, but that's just the way that I was.
True to your personality and who you are, which is. Yeah.
I mean, there's people that I fought and then ended up training together. You know, it's not. There's no animosity there. It's you're in there to do a job. You know.
Yeah, it's a very respectful sport, isn't it? When you see, like, I don't know, speaking from context, like Wilder and Fury, and they're pushing each other, and it's just a bit, ugh, you know what I mean?
There's millions and millions and millions of pounds on it, and that is the big difference, unfortunately. So they have to sell it, you know? Yeah,
I hear that. So, going back to your gym, is there any fighters that are standing out to you at the minute, coming up?
I mean, at Keddles, there's, you know, Bernice Aldis, just been signed to one championship.
Sick.
Yeah.
Lucky enough to train alongside her and actually train her as well, along with her partner. So, again, someone that I've known for a long time and know exactly what she's capable of. So for her to get on one championship is massive.
Yeah, that is massive.
And Grace Spicer as well, that we have on the show, who's fighting for that belt there.
We'll get onto that little sexy thing.
Yeah. So I mean, them two stick out, and then we get a lot of people drifting in and out of Keddles, to be honest. With some of the MMA guys down there as well, fighting on Bellator and Cage Warriors. So there's some good talent.
That's awesome.
So, have you finished fighting, or are you?
For me, yeah.
Yeah,
I think I'm done now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, life after fighting. You've obviously gone into promotions. Tell us a bit about that. So, you've done 4 so far.
So, for me, it come at a time where my daughter was just born, so I had a little bit of free time on my hands. So, promoting was something that was in a little bit in the back of my mind while I was fighting, but I knew that I wouldn't have the time to fully commit to it. So when my daughter was born, I knew that that was probably it. I just knew that in my head, you know. And at the time, my partner with this show, James, had just done a boxing show, and he said, well, why don't we team up, you know? I'll take care of the boxing, you can do the Thai boxing K1, we can put some MMA on it. And it just come at the right time for me personally, so we went straight in and done a show, and it's just literally gone from there.
And that was in Bromley?
That was in Bromley, yeah. We've had 3 shows there now.
I like the fact that you've actually gone for the belt, you know, the creme de la creme. And a lot of fight shows that are hit in the UK, they create their own belt. So how come you didn't go through that route, creating your own belt, and you went for the...
I mean, you can do. It's not. There's nothing wrong with that. I think each to their own, but to have this on the show, like a WBC world title, is just it's amazing for the fight and for the show. For me to get it on, I'm you know really excited to have that on the show and be part of it. So,
do you think it waters down the fact that loads of promotions are out there creating their own belts? Do you think it waters down, you know, being a world champion means? Because I could create, you know.
I mean, this is like a little bit of a grey area, I suppose, with some shows. That's not to take away the fact that, you know, I could make my own world title up and then fight a guy, you know, from Spain, Italy, whatever, and that could be a really good fight and warrant a world title. But because it's their brand, that shouldn't take too much away from it. If you know, if you're worthy of that fight, then you know, I think that's what it boils down to. But to have that belt is the... You know, that's pretty much the pinnacle of not just Thai boxing, but boxing as well. So to have that on the show is, you know, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I do definitely think it sets you apart from other promotions. I mean, as we said, you know, you're in the Indigo O2, other fight promotions are in the Indigo O2. You know, how was that received? Were fighters like keen to come and fight on your show?
Then you can sell itself, to be honest. So to say that... you know, it's an added bonus to fight at the O2. I mean, I've fought there a lot of times, and it's a great venue. So I think that is an added bonus for guys to want to fight on it. You know, I had quite a lot of people approach me wanting to go on it. A few people from abroad, stuff like that. So the fact that it reached out to them is, you know, it's a good venue.
Yeah,
it's a
for
good
sure.
venue.
This is your 4th promotion now moving forward, isn't it? How frequent do you plan to have them? Is it going to be 2 a year?
So we've got 4 dates this year. So we've got the O2, March the 8th. Then we're back at Bromley, April the 11th. Bromley again, August the 8th. And then York Hall, Friday
York Hall as well.
Yeah, so we just confirmed that. So, yeah, 4 times a year I think is a good amount.
All right, so tell us about this show that you have coming up on the 8th. Where can people buy tickets?
So we've got March the 8th at the Indigo, obviously. You can go online and get that on axs.com or directly through the fighters. But we just got a monster of a fight card, and I'm not excited just to put it on, but to watch it. You know, you know, these are genuine fights. I believe I can look down my list and think, you know, that could headline a show on its own, and you know, I'm at the moment really proud of, you know, this fight card. You know.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. And how much are the tickets? Tickets are a little...
So tickets, we've actually had to open up upstairs now as well. So
come on.
Yeah, because we've got rid of all the other tickets. So they're £30 upstairs standing.
Oh, wow.
And you've got the 35 downstairs, 45 seated, 65 Kings Row.
Yes.
And then there's tables as well. So we've made it so, you know, it's relatively affordable for guys.
I think that's great, because I know that some promotions are a lot more expensive. So for the average Joe who doesn't necessarily want to invest that much but is interested, you know, they can come along, and 30 quid is not that much.
For me personally, I don't know if it's just because I'm new to it, but I just wanted to make it where I'd rather it be busier.
Yeah.
But just, you know, make it more expensive and take more money, you know. That was just my idea behind it. So, you know, I want to get that place packed, and it's got a fight card worthy of a sellout. So,
and I think it does it. It's amazing for the fighters to come to a show and for it to be packed to the rafters. So you look up there, you know, it's packed. You look down there, it's packed.
Well, as a fighter, this is, you know, you want a packed venue, and I remember fighting at that venue when it was sold out, and it was amazing. It was amazing to look out and just see, you know, fan after fan, and you know, all you guys, you know, cheering you on, and it's brilliant. That's what you want as a fighter, walking out to that, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you could just tell us a bit more about that belt on the table. how important is it to Muay Thai, to kickboxing, just to martial arts in general? Like, how important is that belt?
So people that obviously are educated in it will know, but to the the public that don't, this is you can't get no better than this belt. It really is the pinnacle. Again, not just in Thai boxing, but in boxing.
Yeah.
So this really is the best you can get, and this is why it's such a decorated title. So this is the one. This is the main one.
Was it hard to get on your promotion? Did you have to put a lot of legwork in?
Yeah, to a certain extent, it was getting the opponent for Grace that was probably the hardest. We had a few options to go through. Grace has obviously just won a world title on the Capital Punishment show. I think it's back in September.
Yeah.
So she's already won a world title. This is the one everyone wants.
Yeah.
And so I've trained Grace since she was a kid. So, this is I wanted her to win this one. So you don't get much better than this belt. So I was more than happy to put the work in that it takes. I've got a good relationship with a guy who does it for the UK, Nash. Very cool guy. So we actually had to pull out for our first girl, so it was a little bit tricky at that point, but we managed to get through this new girl, Lara Fernandez, and she's a really good opponent, really good.
Okay, so what can we expect from that fight?
Well, it's good because they've actually trained a little bit together.
Okay.
So when she come over from Spain, they've done a little bit of sparring together, so they sort of know each other a little bit, which brings a good element to it. But their styles come together. I think this makes for a better fight than the previous fight. Okay. So I'm even more excited about this fight now. And like I say, Lara's a very, very good opponent, and Grace does better against the better opponent, in my opinion. So this will bring out the best in both girls, I believe. So I think you're in for a really good fight.
Yeah, sick. Well, someone's going to get their arm raised. Someone's getting that belt.
someone gets to go home with that belt.
And then after, would there be a challenger, like some, years down the line?
I mean,
how does it work?
You can defend it.
Yeah.
Or it depends if you move up a weight or down a weight.
Okay.
You can go for another belt, but yeah, you can defend it. I mean, the next one from that is called a WBC Diamond Belt, but I think you have to defend that 3 times before you can fight for it.
Okay.
I believe there's only 3 people in the world that have it, and I think that's Borkow, Sanchai, and Ruth Ashdown, female fighter. But that's the WBC Diamond Belt.
Okay. So do you plan to? Well, you don't know yet. If Grace does win, let's put it out there.
I'm more than confident in her winning. Yeah, but I mean, we'll see where she wants to go from there.
But it'll always have to be at that weight.
Yeah, you'd have to defend that and then go on to that. But yeah, the first goal is obviously to win that. To win it. First
and I'm sure she will.
But it always stays on your promotion, right? It never.
Well, no, she can defend it somewhere else.
Right,
and once that title's hers,
okay.
it's hers. But that's just one of the many good fights on that show. So
yeah, sick. Well, not one to be missed. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, very affordable tickets will come down. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so where can everyone find you?
Myself, on social media, Rory Crawford. They can find Combat Fight Series on Instagram under that name. Facebook page as well. We're going to launch a website soon for the end of this year.
Okay.
So yeah, you can find us on there, and make sure you don't miss this show.
Yeah, man. Hit him up on all social platforms, and like I said, not one to be missed. So get yourself down, watch some banging fights. Let's go at it.
Yeah.
Sure. Look forward to it. Nice one, Rory. Cheers.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in again. Obviously, stay posted with what's up and coming. Hit us up, like, subscribe, all them things there.
Yep, official Kickboxing England. All the details are below. Thank you, Rory, for coming. It's been great.
Nice one.
Thank you all so much. Please like, subscribe, comment, all below.